Greetings, everyone. This is your sister Ambience. I hope all is well. Everyone is getting along well in this interesting season, this time of year that they refer to as the Christmas season. I don't know about you, but it's been blah. It's been blah. It's a lot of divisive energy that seems to be revealing itself more than ever. And, we always have reasons on why we have these different issues with one another and fallouts, so on and so forth. And there seems to have been reasons back in the past that we would stop, dealing with people or have these fallouts. But it just seems like in this particular season, there's no reason at all other than the fact that people are just fed up with one another. It's an interesting thing that's taking place. But I wanted to speak on this whole, these files, this information that they're withholding from, the people that have voted them into office. And, basically we have voted people into office. I haven't, because I don't participate in the whole voting process because it makes no sense. It just makes no sense, to vote someone into a position where they're saying, I have the power to give someone else power over me, where they override all that the Constitution stands for, the Bill of Rights, all of our various amendments, that they claim that we have these rights, but the fact that we're voting them into a thing allows them to determine if they're going to uphold these things that told us we're supposed to be voting in the first place. These are the tools that are used in order to make sure the people are supposed to keep the power, but yet and still our vote only gets us placed in a position of being a child and a minor. And an example of this is, now they say there are basically notes and information on various things that have taken place in this country in regards to officials, in regards to presidents, and so on and so forth. And it's supposed to be this running tally, this record of things, these minutes that are supposed to be allowed to be released to the public at some point. Now, that's tricky in itself. Why would you even trust? That's just like the voting process. Like, why would you trust someone to keep information, keep a record of something, only to release it to you later, when you should be the one they should be coming to minute by minute, updating you on what's going on? And so I just want to talk about this whole FBI situation and what the FBI truly represents. And I've spoken before on how they say, okay, within 25 years, we'll release all the information on everything that's transpired and we've gathered thus far in this situation regarding the death of JFK, the assassination of JFK. And then that time comes and they don't do it. And really, it didn't start with Biden. This was also going on with Trump. And so Trump is supposed to be this great savior that people talks about. But see, we're talking about life being a stage here, and we're talking about the various players. And so why didn't Trump release this info? And actually, I think it even started with Obama when it's all said and done, that he also stood in the way of this information being released. And so the question becomes, why? Because if you want to suppress information regarding an agency that's supposed to be an upholder of our society, but yet and still you don't allow it. That just goes to show you how you all are in bed together, and you're all plotting, and it's this great conspiracy against the people, the masses of the people, and so, and what people don't understand is the CIA really actually has more control than the White House, than those who are in the White House, from the president on down, because the CIA and the military industry complex have been running all types of experiments and all types of various projects on the American people through broadcasting for decades and decades, whether it was through radio broadcasting, whether it was through the television, or really through the television. I mean, they've been doing all types of tests on the people and sending subliminal messages and so on and so forth. That's why the people go along with everything now, because everyone has actually been what's the word I'm looking for? Have experienced MK Ultra on some level, just through the television alone, and so why is it that people are so easy to go along with obvious disrespect, blatant disrespect, other than the fact that they have been placed under some type of control of some sort, some type of mind control? I mean, because that's what the government stands for. It stands for control. So if you vote for the government, again, I'm going to reiterate this. You vote for the government, and we know that a governor, govern means to control, correct? Are you with me, people? Because I don't think people truly understand what I'm saying here. You're saying, okay, control me. And then when they implement all the various tactics in order to put you under mind control, well, mind control and government means the same thing. It literally means the same thing. And so why are you surprised by this? And so, of course, Biden is not going to release this information because he has benefited off of these various alphabet agencies, either intimidating or withholding information about him and his son, and so it's amazing to me how things are presented to various people, and so the types of mind controls, the mind control that's going on itself is geared to different people. There's various types of it, because you can listen to people speak, and all the things that you and I know about, these people are oblivious to. You have people who they only take on information that pushes the agenda. That's it. They don't, they have a hard time with anything else. I just recently, I had a conversation with someone about a particular artist, and they just had a hard time accepting the fact that this person, could have been compromised to the degree of violating, someone underage, and this was a woman that did this. And they had a hard time accepting that, they know that the person that in question, the one that actually the person that was violated in their youth, we know that this person has had disturbing behavior all their life. And these are signs of violation. These are signs of being groomed. These are signs of, being used by an adult. But yet and still, because of who this person is, they don't want to accept the fact that this person has the ability to violate at a young age, especially because it's a woman, you know what I'm saying? And so, but I think that any adult, if you've lived long enough and you've been able to talk to men, grown men, most men are going to tell you that they lost their virginity to an older woman, an older girl, an older woman. is just not seen the same. It's seen as a notch in the belt of the male. That's how, and that's what they implement on young men and young boys, you know, and so that becomes the norm, and it becomes acceptable for young boys and young men to be taken advantage of, violated, raped, insulted, sexually insulted by older females, older women. You know, so it becomes a way of life where it's okay for this to take place. And then what it does is, it's the strangest thing, you know what I'm saying? Because it creates an atmosphere where the young girl and the young woman who also experiences thing becomes it looks like we're doing all the screaming and the complaining, and we're over the top with our complaints about the violation, because on the male side, it's an okay thing. You know what I'm saying? But they're not taking into consideration, you know, even the physical aspect, the physical difference between the male body and the female body, and the physical attack on the female. Not to say that all females are violated through some means of physical attack, you know, but just the intimidation of someone bigger, a man, you know, violating you like that, just alone can subdue the mind of a female or a woman, where they just don't want to fight back because they're afraid that if they do, they could lose their life in the process, right? And so, and that's some of the difference too. You know, it's a very convoluted situation, but anyway, you know, I'm just saying that to say how, in this society, how we are literally groomed in a way of thinking just based on the different programming that's installed into our subconscious, leading to our conscious mind. And so whatever program is installed, we take on this spirit wholeheartedly. You know, I don't know why some people have some type of inability to be actually put under hypnosis. And, you know, we may be the people that they come after, and we may be the people that they deem God's most favored, because we don't behave in ways that shows that we have been programmed. And so we stand out and stick out like sore thumbs. Like, for instance, you know, there's just no way, and this is just my view and my take, opinion, however you want to see it, but there is no way for a group of people to have met discrimination, the racism, the prejudices that we have met in this experience here in the United States, really worldwide. But there's no way that you should go through that someone should take you through that, and somehow you have a love for them. That's not a sane mind, you know, because it doesn't matter who it comes from. Because if I personally was a disrespecter of you, and someone who violated you, someone who always stood in the way of your success, someone who was always, you know, downing you, people will tell you that you shouldn't like me, you shouldn't fuck with me, that I'm a beast, that I'm wicked. But how is it that the masses of the people have developed some type of love for that which always comes up against it, continually comes up against it, nonstop? Other than the fact that they have used some form of mind control, some form of hocus pocus on you to make you go along with they bullshit. Like, even if it's coming up against you literally taking on the mindset that this is okay, and maybe they're right. You know, whether you're doing it consciously or subconsciously, you know, it's being done. And this is what is a segue into open up various images on TV, on videos, you know, movies and things like that, that continually takes you further into being inferior, not looking the part, not being the part, not being able to talk the part, all that type of stuff, where all these things become out for the world to see, to also join in along with the shaming and the guilt of who you are. It's not what you've done. It's just about attacking who you are, your physical first and foremost. And then the shame, which is almost, is like the initial form of a social credit, where people want to shame you into a way of being. And if you don't go along with it, what happens, the ostracizing causes you to actually leave the situation altogether. But then you have those who they withstand that because they just want to be accepted. They want to get some type of validation or get something out of it, even though it may be minimum, but something, anything, whether it's recognition, whether it's a material thing or whatever, and so this shame and this guilt, in our community should have been enough for us to always keep in the forefront that we're dealing with an enemy, because again, if I display the same behavior that this government has displayed towards anyone, first and foremost, I would be deemed a criminal. I would probably be in jail, more than likely, because what this government, the attitude that this government has had towards us has led to the murder of us, has led to the theft from us, and we have been violated in every way possible. And so if I were to do that to another person, I would be deemed a criminal automatically. It wouldn't even be a matter of, you're just not right. That's not a good thing to do. I would just flat out just be a criminal. And so how is it that a person can kill you, can kill people like you, can have a problem with anyone that looks like you, but yet you develop this form of a type of love for this people, this system, you know what I'm saying? But I guess the whole, it's so convoluted and so confusing, especially once you start to allow the enemy to teach your children, because, when you look at the various groups of people in this country, whether they were here or whether they were brought here or came here, one of the main things is they began to take their culture from them, their way of how they look, how their garb, how they dress, things like that. And they shame them into looking a certain way. This is the whole concept that the whole world has taken on with wanting to be lighter in skin tone. And that's in every country. That's a thing. Whether it's India, whether it's Asia, whether it's Africa, here in the United States, I would definitely say that's more so a producing of children type thing. People typically use that superior mindset as far as light skin being better than in the production of children. They want to have light-skinned children, but most of us here in the United States, we don't go so far as to bleaching our skin. And I'm not saying that we haven't, but it hasn't become a norm for us here where we're bleaching our skin. We just tend to look for mates who could help us produce the next generation that's not dark like us, right? And so, but it just goes to show that a whole world can be violated and they can have a group of beings force themselves on them, and they literally take on that belief system, and then, when you go into just the deeper meaning of it, people also associate the fact that, it's not just a beauty thing. It's a status thing. You know what I'm saying? Whether people really want to acknowledge it or not, it's a status thing. People are treated better. People have better experiences when they have lighter skin, and so on and so forth. You have people who are mixed, and they they can pass for being European. And so they have, because it led to a better experience, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, when it's all said and done, when you're getting in the bed with a group of people that are responsible for all, the pretty much all the malice in the world, you're never really getting a better life. That's a facade, because you're going to get in their world and you're going to realize how harsh it is. It's not a happy place to be in when it's all said and done. It can't be. You can't give so much, can't be so much of an opposition to those around you, and then people think that you're where it's at. It just, what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's just like, just a bully. A bully is not a fun person to really be around. They can't be, because they have issues with themselves. Because if they didn't have issues with themselves, then this wouldn't be some outward thing. This wouldn't be something that's coming from the inside out. But we go for it because, the whole "in God we trust" thing, and so, when you think about that whole concept, that whole God we trust, and just what a trust is, because the indoctrination, it tells you what to think about everything. And so when you hear the term, or you see the terms on the money saying "in God we trust," you're thinking about trust as in trusting a person, but they're looking at it from a financial term. You know what I'm saying? As far as a beneficiary, and a trustee position. But again, we have been indoctrinated into a way of thinking in order for them to be able to do what they do to get away with it. So here we are thinking about, oh, God, we trust God. We trust God is going to work it out for us in our lives. And, we trust. So we're thinking that this money is going to bring us some type of spiritual freedom, that because subconsciously that's what's taking place, why would God be incorporated on a monetary note, like a note, other than the fact that it's trying to make you think the God that you say you serve is connected to this promissory note. And so then, but once the indoctrination was solidified, you notice in the timing of things, the whole God concept became, a blur. It became a blur with how people perceive God, how people started to question if there's a God more, or the fact that God just wasn't even present in people's lives anymore. Like, you got people who they never even utter these words out of their mouth, other than the fact that they may be reading the dollar bill. You know what I'm saying? So once they were able to gain a certain foothold, and they no longer needed the connection between the God that you were serving on the weekends and the God that they were trying to confuse you to really worship. They no longer needed that connection, and so now people are literally serving the money. It's all about the money. The money will make things right. The money will, understand what I'm saying? And so, and they've been able to produce a world where this seems to be the case. It seems to be the case. But when I say seem, I'm referring to, again, you're talking about a group of individuals, beings whose sole purpose is to be able to exploit the average person. We're talking about exploitation here. And so if something only wants to exploit you, it does not have any other plan for you. And so by you thinking that this money is going to be a means to an end, it can never be. Even if you were to gain the world, in a world like this, you can still not be happy. because you still have to encounter people. If the money brings you a world full of material gain that allows you to move away and be away from people, at some point you're still going to suffer. You're still going to suffer. You're still going to have an innate desire to be around others. You're going to have an innate desire to interact with others. It's going to come up at some point. Because even as babies, you know, a baby can literally die from no interaction with an adult or another human being. They can literally die from neglect. And people die from heartache all the time. You know, you have couples who've been together for a long time and one passes away, and then shortly after the other one passes away, you know? And so it's not possible. It's everything that this system has to give is all an illusion. It's all a lie. They have to convince us the answer in us is not the answer, which really it truly is the answer. And it does not really involve money. It doesn't. And I know this is so hard to accept, you know what I'm saying? Because when I look at my situation and I look at, okay, the only way that I can really come out of this situation is through some type of monetary funding. Right. And so, but my desire to gain in that area is not about separating myself. It's not about feeling like I've made it or I'm better than or something like that. It just has to do with me being able to put myself in a position of security, you know. So money does offer a certain amount of security, but only for those who really have a grip on it. And if you don't have a grip on it, you know, now it can offer you security, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to offer you happiness, because people are secure. There are people up and down all these streets and these neighborhoods all throughout this world that, you know, who are behind closed doors and they're safe. And even in my situation, I'm safe. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it doesn't necessarily mean happiness. And a lot of people connect security to happiness, you know. And so again, people, you know, this government and their betrayal, they have lied to us about who they are in regards to who we are, how they really feel about us. And you know how they feel about us by how they treat us. These people take our tax dollars where you have some people here in this country who have gone to jail because of tax evasion, because they didn't want to pay taxes. But then you have those who take your tax dollars and tell you how much they don't have to give you. But they can take your tax dollars, or even if it's not your tax dollars and they're just printing the money, at the end of the day, that debt belongs to us. They take your money, tell you how much they can't do for you because they don't have enough money. They don't have enough funding. And they'll turn around and take that money and send it to a whole nother place. And then leave you with the debt of it. But then tell you how you have no say-so. And how the money and how the debt you're accumulating is spent. Now tell me you haven't been placed under some type of mind control. Now, you gave it over willingly by your vote. Now, how you got there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what means and tools they use in order to solidify their control over you that you've given them. I mean, because it's obvious when they use words like broadcasting and programs. what they're doing, and for those of us, this is where, the older people dropped the ball to a certain degree, because there had to be a time, in these various universities, we know that there's different types of education. You have a public education and you have a private education. And in a lot of cases, a lot of these people who have gotten these private educations, they tend to be the ones to go on to educate, because that's how you keep the cycle and the system alive, because they know the difference. They know the difference of the private and the public, and they understand what the end result is all about, why they have this separation in education. There's always a duality. We live in a time of duality. I mean, that's all it is either or, and so that's how they play on that. Now that's a natural thing, but they play on that. They play on that whole concept to keep the haves and the have-nots. But now people are recognizing it's all been a game, because it's affecting their lives. The very people that's participated in the suppression of others are now being suppressed, and they're feeling some kind of way about it, and so, but again, the least of you. So when you allow and you participate in the suppression of one person, at some point it will be used against you, and so in this democracy that says that the majority rules, but yet and still, remember, the majority rules in a democracy, but the democracy is under a government. So that in itself is like some oxymoron. They can't really occupy the same space, because, I mean, it is, but it shouldn't. Because if you're creating the norms in people, therefore creating the majority that's needed in order to rule in the democracy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to wrap your thoughts around that, because if I'm only given the choice of one, either or, is that really a true democracy? Is that a true democracy? And I guess they tried to fuse the whole, it's supposed to have been some type of fusion between the republic and the democracy, where one fell short, the other could step in, right? And so the republic is more so just based on law. But if this system that we're in within the United States, if this is based on law, then the government itself has continually violated the law, and they have. I mean, that's what a tyrant is, a violator of your rights. And so, the signing of the bills late into the night, when people aren't aware of what's going on, but people are already asleep. You don't have to wait till midnight in order to sign these bills, because they've already did all the necessary programming and broadcasting to keep you out of the loop just mentally. Like, you're just not there. You don't know what's going on. You don't care, to the point where you have turned your back on the desire to even know what's going on, and within the system of the government, to where they've been able to create a whole additional system to truly keep you out. You have to go through X, Y, and Z in order to even gain the information. And so now with all these subscriptions, you know what I'm saying? They talk about how it's going to be a point in time where you're not going to own anything. This is going to be a strictly subscription-based society where, you want to watch TV, then you gotta subscribe to something. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with these cars, if you want certain things on your cars, things that, you can go and you can, these add-ons to make, a luxury car, a luxury thing, you got to subscribe to it. You know what I'm saying? And so we all remember, Sirius and all these different radios, but now it's more than that. Now if you want heat in your car, like on your seats, or, those extras, so on and so forth, you have to subscribe. They want to make sure that you're constantly funding them. So it's not like, a one-time deal where, okay, I just want this extra added to my car, so you're going to just up it in the prices one time. No, they want to make sure that you're constantly buying into the concept monthly to make sure so they can project things in their favor, and so, I mean, that's where we're going here, where it's just total control. When you think about all these various smart appliances, all these things in our homes that are monitoring us, in order for that to be a real time and real live type of situation, it's going to require a subscription of some sort. So if you want your refrigerator to tell you that you're out of milk, that has to be a running tab. That has to be something that's taking place, consistently being monitored on a regular basis. You're going to have to pay for that. So you just going in the refrigerator and seeing for your damn self, or seeing the fact that you just threw away an empty container because you just drunk the last of the milk, that's not enough for us. No, we want a refrigerator to tell us that we're out of milk and we need to get milk. We want the refrigerator to make up our grocery list. I recently had experienced someone who was about to buy some groceries. They're going to have them delivered, and I literally had to put it on the table on, did it make sense for you to have this, these groceries delivered? And this is how you really have to, these are young people. You have to deal with these young people. You have to accept the fact that they're in a different time and place than you are, and so you have to make it make sense where they'll understand. And I'm like, okay, well, you guys are about to spend hundreds of dollars. And they're like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to tell you this. This is my experience, both doing delivery of the groceries and also having groceries delivered. I had to explain to them that, first and foremost, when you go grocery shopping for someone else, in order for you to really get what you want in that grocery store, that person has to have experience with shopping, first and foremost. And they have to be considerate and have a respect for the fact that these people want what they ordered. And see, not everyone has that spirit, because not everyone, especially in this day and age, has it in them to serve someone else. It's all about, in God we trust. It's all about the end result, that money. And so it's a matter of timing, because the more deliveries you get, of course, the more money you make. And so I know when I did it, I didn't leave people high and dry. I took what I was doing seriously, because that's how I take it when I go shopping. I go in, when I go grocery shopping, I go in with precision. Okay, I go in with precision. I don't be in there to play. So I look at people walking around like they. I go in with something in mind, right? And so that's how I will shop for other people. And so if they didn't have certain things, it may be, they might recommend a substitute or whatever. But if it was something that I would consider to be very valid and important, I would reach out to these people and tell them, you know what I'm saying? And so, but not everyone's going to do that, especially when you're dealing with certain types of people who are just, not to, not to be stereotypical, but the programming has worked on people. And you have, you got men, and most men, they don't give a fuck when they go to the grocery store. Shit, they rather their woman go to the grocery store. They rather their mama go to the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying all men, but this is the programming. We're talking about norms here, right? And so, and then not to mention young people. Young people don't even cook these days. They quick to go and make money doing delivery, only to go through the money having shit delivered to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, really? And so, and then on the flip side, I remember when at one point my vehicle was down and I wanted to make, a family dinner. And so I had some food delivered to the house. And so everything that I ordered was just strictly for that meal. It wasn't even groceries per se for meals. I mean, it was just for that meal. And do you know when they brought all my stuff, the main thing, which was the meat, I was making a roast, they didn't bring because they just said they didn't have it. So like, what was the point? Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is these young people, you know, that can't put two and two together to say, well, damn, obviously they're making a meal just based on what I'm getting for them. And so that main thing is going to be that meat. But you bring me, you don't even reach out to me and tell me. You don't even give me the option to tell you, okay, well, just get me a whole chicken or something. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm like, and now you're going to go and spend hundreds of dollars to have someone to bring you or not bring you shit. I said, I mean, that don't even make sense. I said, I just want you guys to think about what I'm saying to you. You're about to allow someone else to go grocery shopping for you, and you're spending hundreds of dollars, and you actually think they're going to bring you exactly what you want. Like, shit, get your lazy ass up and go shopping. They did, you know, when it's all said and done. But I'm just like, you know, this whole subscription based, you know, they're furthering the whole middleman mentality where, you know, it's okay for someone else to go do this and do that for you and all that type of shit. And, you know, you get your shit and it ain't how you want it and how you like it. It's not sometimes even what you ordered, you know. So, but we live in a time of subscriptions, convenience. It's all about, you know, that instant gratification, and people don't really want to put in the work like, you know, we did back in the day. That's just like, for instance, you know, I know it's going to snow. Most people hate the snow. I actually enjoy shoveling snow. That's like I really love being in the brisk air. I love the shovel, and I can get a little obsessive about it. You know, it's just a fun thing to me. It's just something I like to do. Most people don't like to do it. Now, when we were younger, we would actually make money shoveling snow. We would make money, you know, mowing lawns and so on and so forth, you know. But today, these people, they're not on it. You know what I'm saying? They're just not, they can care less about what they have, even taking care of it. And I'm not saying that not all young people and people today don't take care of their things, but most people are more interested in someone else taking care of it. I mean, because that's how this system, that's the direction that they want us to go into, to the point where then the AI, whether it's a robot, whether it's, you know, something and just dealing with technology, just being the stand-in between you and what you want. That's how they want it to be, you know, just to further that whole that middleman concept, you know. But that's what happens when you're being governed. You know what I'm saying? You're being governed, and they're enticing you with the convenience of things, but in your desire for convenience, you're being shorted with the quality of things, and even with the quantity of things, because you'll notice that when you go somewhere to get food, somewhere takeout or fast food or whatever, you run the risk when you go through a drive-through. You run the risk when you get food delivered, because sometimes, a lot of times, the portions, the quantity or the amount of food that is given to you is less, because you're not there to monitor it. You're not there to question it. And so you're given less because of it, even though you're paying more for the convenience of it, you know. And so, but now, just again, just like the crossover and the cusp and the exchange of adult to child, and how it became a more dumbing down, you know, these children don't want to accept it, but they're dumb. They're dumbed down to the point of having the mindset to even question anything, because they've allowed what they've been shorted in to become the norm. And so when they see that small portion, that's all they know, until one of them happens to decide, okay, well, let's just stop here since we're out and about. And then they'll go in somewhere and they'll get the same thing that they order all the time, and they get far more. And they're like, wow, I don't get this much when I order. You know what I'm saying? When I'm have it delivered, you know what I'm saying? So it's just the changing of the guards is like a weakening. It's becoming, our society is becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. I don't see the wiser. You know, I know that in the scripture it speaks about the children are going to be weaker and wiser. I don't see the wiser at all. They seem to have more knowledge of things. But just because you have a knowledge of things doesn't mean you have a know-how of things. You might have a knowledge of what's being talked about, what's being said, but you don't have the knowledge, like, you know, book knowledge. So I can't even put that on, you know what I'm saying? You know, they don't have the intellect, I should say. Maybe they have the knowledge of things, but not the intellect of things. And so if you don't have the intellect of things, there's no way you can have the wisdom of something. It's just no way, you know. So, you know, I look at, you know, these babies, and, you know, they're very, very smart. They're very, they have a strong will, so on and so forth. But that's going to really be a matter of the adults around them being able to monitor their educational level, you know, to reprogram them after they've been, especially when they've been exposed to public schooling. And, you know, and heads up, you think you're doing something because you're sending your child to, say, a charter school, but, you know, Bill Gates and other philanthropers, you know what I'm saying? They have been known to also donate to those type of schools as well, you know. And so we know that donation means, you know, favor. So I need you to do this and I need you to do that. So this is how they're trying to counteract, you know, these inner school students who have opted out of public schools in hopes to be able to avoid the public school trap. This is how they've still found their way to these children in these charter schools, is through funding these schools. So know that. And so you have to, if you have children in your life that you care for and you're concerned about their future, you have to ask them daily what they learned in school. Like, let them, you know what I'm saying? Like, in a way where you're just having this conversation with them, you know, that they can really see as an adult conversation where they can, you know, see their value in expressing this, so you can find all the cracks in what's being taught. Because we're already going to have to deprogram them when it comes to the various cartoons that they consistently watch, and, you know, all the video games and things that they're doing on their tablets and things like that, because they're doing this at younger and younger ages. We're going to have to find means to counteract the programming. You know, those of us who are conscious and aware and, you know, really wise about how we got into this position, in order to make sure that, you know, these young people, you know, because it's always going to be exceptions to the rules. They're not going to be able to control everyone's mind like that. And they know it. You know, that's why they do all the monitoring that they do, so they can try to keep up with those type of things, but they really can't. But that's also another reason why they desire to depopulate, because less people, it's less monitoring needed, more control, you know. And so I don't even see that, because they keep talking about you know, all the things they say that pretty much boils down to the depopulation, and the things that they do that's where they're trying to boil down to depopulating. But, you know, the population is still growing, you know, but they also may be looking at it from an aspect of depopulating the old, you know, that way they can bring in the new. So you have to take that into consideration, because at the end of the day, there are still parents out here who love their children. There's still parents out here who are concerned about their children. Even though there's this need to push hatred for children, you know. And again, you're dealing with people who are imbalanced, who don't, they're not relatable. they can't relate to anyone else. And so people like that just want to control things. You know what I'm saying? They just want to, they can't relate. You know, it makes you wonder, are these beings, do they go through the same process that human beings go through when they come in the world, as far as being carried through a woman and so on and so forth? Because they're seem to be so disconnected from the whole concept that you treat others how you want to be treated. You know, because if you were a child, you don't want to be disregarded as just something that comes to fuck the world up. You know, you're just another fucking being that's coming to fuck the world up. I mean, this is literally how these people really think. Like they they look at children and it's just like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a person that's highly unrelatable. Highly, because you can't recognize that was you at some point. Like, really? And so maybe they feel like, well, I went through it and I survived. So bitch, you little bitch, you're going to survive. Like, they don't even see the innocence in a child because of how they were, you know, raised and all. Just weird shit. It's just weird shit going on. Like, children are the enemy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess, but again, when it's all said and done, it's all about coming up against God and nature and all things life-giving. And so, like, they just have like a disdain for things that represent that. But again, you know, we ask to be governed. We keep asking to be governed in this society, you know, where it's like, again, you know, they come as though they have your best interest at heart. You know, they love you. They care about you. It's all about us doing this together. And then all the while, it's like they're like thinking to themselves, like, yeah, this stupid fuck. I'm gonna get this stupid fuck to do exactly what I want. You know, you got people like that in your life. That's just wants to use you. And somehow in your life, that's not okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not okay for those, when those around you see that you're going through something like that. It's just like, why would you put up with that? How do you? But then ultimately, that's what we put up with from our own government, who tells us all the time about how we're doing something wrong. Therefore, it's only bad shit gonna happen. But they're not experiencing the same reality that they're trying to convince us is taking place. They can literally vote themselves not to come into work. They can, you know, I mean, like, they tell you, you have to go to work and you have to make, you know, you can only get this amount of money an hour. And, you know, and then they're the ones that can tell you how much you can get an hour as far as the minimum and so on and so forth. And you have to not only go to work and work 40 hours, but you got to go ahead and put in some overtime. And you got these motherfuckers for the whole year. They might show up 3 months. I mean, days wise, they may only show up to work 3 months out of the year. 3 months out of the year. But these motherfuckers is putting you in a position where you have to work overtime to barely make it. You keep voting for them to govern you, though. Like, damn, they doing a fucked up ass job at governing you. But then again, they not, because they governing you, they controlling you how they see fit. And they seem to be doing a good job in that area because you can't do the math on it. They have dumbed the people down enough to where they can't recognize that they're being victimized. I mean, you sit and you look at your circumstance, and you sit and you look at their circumstance, and you can't say, well, damn, something's wrong here, because they said they needed me for them to even be where they at. But look at where I'm at in comparison to where I placed them to be. You know, and now and going back to this whole CIA thing, the CIA and obviously the FBI and all these alphabets, they don't operate under, they're like rogue agencies. When they talk about the deep state, you know what I'm saying, or who really controls this country, look to those type of places, because they're the ones who set forth the mapping of things in order for them to get to a certain place. They're the ones who put certain things into place. You know, they do a lot of, ever since World War II, first and foremost, but we know what was going on before then. They have did all these various experiments on people. You know, whether it's individuals or the masses of the people. You know, they have done things like they do a lot of spiritual experiments. They do things to enhance the spiritual aspect of things because they understand the power in it. And their power is even more expanded because the more they know on that area and the less that you know, they really have a certain power over the people because the people aren't even aware of these type of things exist. Like, for instance, if you've ever heard of remote viewing, that's an ability to find yourself, your energy in someone else's presence to see what they're doing. It's a thing. It's a thing. So that lets you know that that's something that's innately in us, but we have been dumbed down and disconnected from the source so much that we don't even know it exists. We think it's impossible. There's clairvoyance. There's all these various types of supernatural things that people possess. And we know this exists because we know people firsthand who they say, oh, well, I had a dream or I had a vision on this particular number in the lottery and they win. Or I had a vision or I had a dream about X, Y, and Z and it happens. So we know it exists. Well, do you know that the more and more you practice it, the more and more you become enhanced in that area. So you literally have people who teach you this. There's various programs on this type of stuff. And you can go on YouTube and you can find people who they'll do readings a month or two in advance of what they're seeing is going to happen somewhere down the line. They go into the future and everything. Now, the CIA has been doing this stuff for decades. They've been doing all types of things in regards to the spiritual realm, but they don't tell you that. They don't tell us nothing. Hell, the president isn't even allowed to know the shit that they do. But he can tell us how he can block us from knowing. He don't even know when it's all said and done. He knows it's some bullshit. He know how much they have watched his back. He know how much they patted his back. That's all he needs to know. Is that they down for him. And he knows it's a generational thing in regards to his position. But he don't really know what these motherfuckers did all this time. Because he not on the same level as them. They getting a go ahead from the Pentagon. And if anybody is running this country, it's more so them. And again, Jeff Bezos on the bed with them motherfuckers. All these supposed billionaires is in the bed with the government. But you have some who are specifically in the bed with the Pentagon. And now that's when you know you really in the bed with somebody. Because you're dealing with the military. And these motherfuckers is running all types of experiments and drills and shit like that. You know, that's like with the whole drone thing. You know, because it's no way possible that we should be living in a society that allows just the average Joe, because 9 times out of 10 it's a Joe, to just have something flying around our heads, other than the fact that they're just trying to make things very compartmentalized and hide they bullshit. Because, see, they say that there are police drones and things like that, but with it being police drones, there's supposed to be certain lighting on it, you know. And so recently, I guess, you know, they're really ready to pull their bullshit. You know, I noticed how they've been running these drills with these airplanes and just over certain areas and so on and so forth. I don't know where they at now. They haven't been through, but I'm sure now that I mentioned it, they'll come through. I haven't seen them in at least a week or whatever. I haven't heard them. But they just be flying around over and over and over and over again, probably hundreds of times, just over your head. And these drones, the drones and the drones are always in the sky. Specifically on certain days, they're always in the sky. But if you're doing something that's different than the norm, they show up. Now, to me, that's an indication of either, again, it's somebody in the neighborhood, or it's some type of quote unquote officials. Because now it makes sense if it's your neighbor doing it and they see that you're doing something different, you're operating differently for X, Y, and Z, and they want to be nosy. You know what I'm saying? So then they put it up in the sky or whatever. But these drones be there like clockwork, like it's a job. You know, they hit the sky at a certain time. You know, so to me, that's kind of an indication. But then again, you got motherfuckers who be up all night. You know what I'm saying? You got motherfuckers, they be having DoorDash sent to their motherfucking house at 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you go to the door and these motherfuckers is playing video games and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, motherfuckers like that be having drones in the sky, you know. But again, this particular drone, I've been seeing it for years, and I've been seeing it specifically on a certain side of town, you know. And I recently purchased me some night vision binoculars. I'm about to be all up in their face. They all up in mine, you know. I don't know if the brother has released the little video I did on drone, you know, being aware of these drones, because these motherfuckers, it's more than one in the sky now by me, and the lighting is different. You know, this particular one that has a different lighting than the other, it just showed up. It just showed up like in the last couple of weeks. It wasn't always there, you know, but specifically it's all in my business because, you know, me and someone else was having a conversation about it, and it's on the east side of the house. But by the time I wake up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, it's on the west side of the house, piercing in at me through the blinds. I had to flip the blinds the other way, you know, and eventually it scurries off as it recognizes, you know. Obviously it's, you know, it's so many concerns with that, because literally those drones, if they have any type of camera attached to it, a cell phone or whatever, those things can be hacked. They can be hacked first and foremost. And you know, you got people who are paid, you know, they may be some type of drone detectives or something like that, where this is how they keep up with, you know, their whoever they're being paid to follow through drones. You know, it can be a mind game. It can be, you know what I'm saying, when it's all said and done, it's a violation, because literally it's sitting there watching me sleep through the blind somehow and recognizing my movements to the point where it's leaving. It moves away. You know, so I don't know, some sick bastard, you know, but there are certain rules and regulations. For one, you know, they have the FFA, you know, you can call and find out how to file a complaint against, you know, these people with these drones, because if they fly to a certain point or whatever, then if it's like a commercial type drone, like for instance a detective, they're supposed to register with these people, you know. And so you can find out, you can investigate and find out if their drones are in the sky at a particular time at a particular place, and you can find out who specifically is doing it. But you know, there's some other options as well, but you know, that's a scary thing. You got people all on YouTube talking about how drones are just following. They've been following me for years, you know. And again, just the strangest thing, you know what I'm saying? to find out that this city that I'm in, this is where they hold the International Drone Convention at, and been doing it for decades without the average person even knowing. If I bring it up to people, they like, what? That's a scary thing. Like, what's the fucking chance? Like, I was like, really? Just so happens to where I fucking grew up at. Come on now. Why? This little ass city is hosting fucking drone conventions, international drone conventions. Like, what? But anyway, so, they doing all types of shit. Like I said, obviously they started some type of school because, it was more and more small plane presence this past summer. I mean, sometimes they will be in lines and all that type of stuff. So who knows what they fucking doing here? Like, really, who fucking knows the depths and how they're taking advantage of situations, how they're able to hide behind different things to make it just the plausible deniability, because it's so compartmentalized, and how they can get away with so much just by saying, oh no, that's this, and when it's really something else going on. Like, these motherfuckers is questionable. They have betrayed us in every aspect of our being. They are not trustworthy. They are not. I'm referring to principalities here. These people that we have voted in and we're paying their salaries and, all that type of shit. These motherfuckers, we're paying. How you gonna pay a motherfucker to come up against you? Just strange shit taking place in this world. Just strange, one reason why I had came off of having my own channel and, even being on YouTube for a certain amount of time is because I was just noticing all this strange stuff taking place with people I was subscribed to. They will be mentioning these very things that I'm talking about, or I'm thinking about, or I'm doing. I mean, when you saying it time and time again, like even recently, just yesterday, someone that I had been inspired to speak about something on, end up speaking on some stuff that could have clearly been seen as though he was talking to me. But, because I know I'm conscious of the system that we're in and the games is being played, but it made me question. I'm wondering to myself, is this person an agent? Is this person actually, am I really looking at a person? Or do they have that type of control over someone to be able to be so specific? And the fact that I've seen it time and time again, like everything from someone I'm watching, I have dreads. I decide to comb my dreads out. And then next thing you know, she decides to comb her dreads out and she's doing it on video. You understand what I'm saying? It's just like all this strange stuff I'm seeing. I'm like, well, damn, am I doing this stuff? Am I also being that to someone else that they're using as to try to fuck with a motherfucker's head to say, wow, I was just doing that, or I was just saying that, or I was just I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but I'm aware of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. You have to be aware of it so you don't just totally succumb to the bullshit, the control. Because there's some strange motherfucking shit taking place in this situation that we're in. And obviously, this is with them rolling out all these various platforms like a YouTube this was in the plan. This was a part of their plan to be able to come up against people and mess with people and stand in the way of what people come to do and all that type of stuff through these various tactics. And so for those who are targeted and the mind games that they try to play because they couldn't control you through the programming. And that's the only reason why they come up against you and I, is because they can't control us through all the programming that we have been forced into our whole lives. Growing up in a family where TV. And they can't control us that way. So they want to be able to not just control minds like us, but to be able to deem minds like ours crazy, something that's out of the norm, something that they have to watch because they have to make it compartmentalized. They have to make it, so there can be some plausible deniability of what's taking place. They got to have a reason. They got to cause the problem and come in with the solution. So not only do they want to control our mind, but how they want to control it is through making it seem as though there's a flaw in our mental. And so they want to do that through means of playing with your head, making it seem like you're hearing something that you're not hearing, making it seem like you're smelling something that you're not smelling, making it seem like it's all in your head. You're paranoid. Those questions they ask you before you get any type of counseling of any sort. You go meet with a psychiatrist or a psychologist. They ask you these questions to make it seem like, this is how they cover themselves. I mean, this is a part of the whole CIA situation. How they was forcing LSD on motherfuckers, so they can cover up their tracks on all they ill doing, man. And it's nothing to them because they've gotten away with so much. They got an arrogance about it. They feel some kind of way if they can't get away with something. They gotta do it just for the thrill of it. And so for people like you and I, and remember, Gay Edgar Hoover, his ass was, his motto was, they got to stop the rise of a black messiah. Why? Why a black messiah? Why not just a messiah in general? Because they got theirs under control. It's you that has the probability to come up against them the most, because it's you they come up against the most. So it only makes sense that they keep some type of stronghold on their enemy, on who they deem their enemy. And so therefore, brothers and sisters, those of us who they cannot control, but we got that energy to influence others. They set up all these little roadblocks and pitfalls around us to stand in the way of that. But we have to embrace everything they hate about us. Everything that they want to control in you, you got to embrace it for yourself. See? Because it's like this. I can go and I can go dance and I can go sing. And it's fine when it's done within the house to a certain degree. To a certain degree. If I go into a meditative mode while I'm doing this, there's a jealousy that occurs. And so all of a sudden I may experience issues with my volume. Where my volume just don't work on the music. It just stopped. I'm messing with it, trying to get it right. Or they'll interrupt with some white female, some high-pitched female voice. It's like they're trying to interrupt my greatness by saying, but I'm here though. I'm here. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's a message. With them, it's all about messaging. That's the subliminals and what they do. You need me. You need me. They never just do things. Look, you'll find that when you make a movement, you might be listening to a video. And when you make a certain movement, you go to shift on something, it goes right into a commercial. Boom. And I'll go as far to say this: appliances within your home. There is some type of connection. Just like, as soon as I said that, my phone started getting dim. Appliances, brothers and sisters, that are within your home or places that wherever there's appliances, there is a certain amount. There's some type of communication that is taking place between what you're doing, what you're thinking, and that appliance. No doubt about it. Now, remember, I used to complain about them headaches I was having. Okay. Now, where I'm positioned at in my vehicle is close to the garage. Matter of fact, my head is in directly where there's an extra refrigerator that's in the garage. It was plugged in. I decided one day to unplug that motherfucker, and the headaches went away. Now, I used to feel this same way when I was in my apartment, because sometimes I would wake up randomly in the middle of the night, and my refrigerator, I'm not going to say my refrigerator, that refrigerator in that apartment would be running like real loud. Real loud. We know that every now and then refrigerators make a certain sound. Now, from what I understand, they're not supposed to really be doing that. From what I understand, it's not supposed to be, but it was, and it was real loud. And then once I recognized it, that shit stopped time and time and time again. And I started questioning what was going on, how this refrigerator was being used. And trust and believe, like I had mentioned in the video, I don't know if the brother released it or not, how I had to stay in the house last night because of, this pole, the pole that I mentioned, that light that had came on randomly so many months ago and then randomly went off. Well, it had been leaning a little bit more than usual, and I recognized it. And so I let the owner know, because it had wires on it, and I can see the strain of the wires as well. And come to find out, this damn pole, I mean, this is a regular wooden pole to just be just like any other street light with the street light on it on the garage. Okay. Make it make sense. But anyway, a police used to own this house. So it was a lot of strange shit that be going on in that motherfucking house. And I didn't sleep good at all last night. But anyway, so this pole, they went on and cut it down completely. This motherfucker it had wood chips underneath it. I mean, it was like, it wasn't even really in the ground. It just had wood chips. If the wires themselves wasn't upholding the damn pole, the pole heavy as fuck. But if it wasn't for me mentioning it to him, that motherfucker would have been coming down, and them wires would have been coming down right along with him, right over me. But thankfully, it was all taken care of. But as I'm in the house at night, whenever I would have certain thoughts, like a light bulb moment or whatever, the furnace would just cut off. But I notice that even when I'm going in and out the house, I notice the same thing. Like sometimes I come in and that furnace will be on, and it just seems like as soon as I walk in, it just shut off, like it's trying to hear it's just the weirdest thing. Motherfucker can call me paranoid. I don't give a fuck. If look, nigga, line up everybody that know me. You can line up. You can line them up to various degrees of how much they know about me, and them motherfuckers ain't. That's something you ain't go hear. Is that I'm paranoid. You ain't go hear, oh, she crazy. You not go hear, oh, she hear voices. You ain't go. That's one reason why they try to stand in the way of what I do, because they know that they can't. I have an ability to express what's taking place to such degrees that it shakes them. You a crazy motherfucker ain't explaining shit like that. It's like they have been preparing for all their wickedness this whole time. They knew that there was going to come a time where they would have to answer to, or they can be placed in a position where they have to be answered. So they have to keep up with certain minds in particular, because minds like my mind makes them very questionable. Very questionable. And yes, this whole smart everything, this shit has already been implemented just in degrees that we weren't aware of shit that's going on in our homes. We don't know the inner working of the furnace. We don't know the inner working of the refrigerator, of the stove. We don't know what them motherfuckers got up in there. Them motherfuckers be doing and knowing all types of shit from experiments and all that type of shit. Hidden knowledge. They know that if they put this there, then that'll cause that. And this will cause that. Then they can do this from a distance. And they can... Man, all I know is when I unplug that refrigerator... Okay? That's all I'm saying. When I unplug that motherfucking refrigerator. And so we have to be aware of these things that are taking place around us. They have weaponized everything. Everything. Lotion, deodorant. All this shit is questionable. You can go and do the research on it. Motherfuckers have sued all types of people behind the shit they putting in everything. I mean, these motherfuckers is diabolical. And because they have been able to program the people to the point of sound like no return, they just continually just do what the fuck they want to do. You know what I'm saying? You know, everybody got people in their life that they know that just type of motherfuckers that they don't care who the fuck they step on, nigga. I'm getting mine. Give a fuck about your baby. Give a fuck about your pet. I don't give a fuck about you. Like you got people that say it, but they really don't mean it. That's not really who they are as people. But you got people who say it and they mean that shit. Motherfuckers is diabolical. And that's the system. And then on top of that, they're amongst each other, constantly feeding that part of the ego, where they're in the towers looking down on us. That shit has even grown in these motherfuckers. That spirit. They don't give a fuck long as they get theirs. Long as they get theirs, they don't give a fuck. And they'll do whatever, anything. And I'm just sitting here looking at my power. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I got people around me. I listen to what people say. You know what I'm saying? Like all my life, I've been able to take on that position of, you think I don't know what you're saying, or you think I don't know what you're doing, but I'm very aware of it. I grew up in training as a little girl. It was how my upbringing was. I was in training for this very day. And how people use words and terms to you, and it makes you question who they really are. Why are they saying this? It's like they're trying to mentally fuck with you. Bitch, you ain't even got what it takes, though. And that's whoever. You ain't got what it takes. It ain't a motherfucker alive that got what it takes to just tell me something and plant a seed in me to make me believe what they said like that about myself. No, honey. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying to you. That's what you're hoping. And then that becomes a question of, who are you tied into? These spiritual enemies. Because you can't put your finger on motherfuckers nowadays. Motherfuckers be on that bullshit and they be looking like angels. You know, like motherfuckers. You got people out here doing all this diabolical shit, and then when the truth come out, because you know it's no longer able the walls just can't take it no more, can't take the lies, and they just fall over and collapse. And when motherfuckers find out who these motherfuckers really is, they be like just blown away. Like, I just don't believe that this person is like this. Like, I never knew that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like finding out you got a serial killer next door and shit. Like, you didn't talk to this motherfucker, you didn't borrow tools from this motherfucker, and and all the while this motherfucker is on what they own and shit. Like, but that's no, never mind to me, motherfucker. You, whatever serial killing you doing, you better do it somewhere else, motherfucker. Because you ain't fucking with my mind like that. You know, whatever, motherfucker. It's so many people around me who they want to play the role like they better than me. But I know, and they know the truth. They know that I see through them and I shake them. And they only have a leg to stand on because it involves others, so they feel. But then there always comes a time where I crush them and those around them all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? That's just like this system. How it tries to play games and sends, you know, motherfuckers with their messages directly and indirectly and shit. And I'm like, I just be open to what the motherfucker got to say. Even if it sounds like it's coming up against me in particular. I'm going to listen to everything that's being said. Motherfucker. Let me see what y'all tactics is about. How y'all really get down. That's what I'm thinking. I ain't mad. Really? Oh, damn. That's how they getting down? Okay, well, now I know. So, I'm no weakling here. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm not her. You know, definitely an exception to the rule all the way around the board. And I don't give a fuck who don't like what I'm saying, how I'm delivering it, or whatever. Who gives a fuck? Shit. Motherfucker. But anyway, I just wanted to speak on that. Wow, I didn't even know I was going this long talking about this governing thing, this governing factor. But anyway, so guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that like button. Hit that like button. You know you like it. You know you like it, but I know how easy it is to forget to hit the like button, you know. And you know, share, support, all that good stuff, you know, send some good vibes, all that good stuff, you know. So I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to say and know that all this is some bullshit, you know, and the ones that benefit off of it or feel they benefit off of it are the ones who are going to find means of upholding this bullshit, you know. And so, and damn the rest of us. They don't care as long as they get in there. So fuck them and they bullshit ass lies and the shit they try to tell everybody else about their perception of shit. Fuck that. This is some bullshit. All this shit is an illusion. It's been all types of tactics that date back so damn far. And the fact that they have kept so much knowledge from the common man and woman, we're just in the dark about shit, you know, to the point where you just know something is wrong, you know. And if motherfuckers be extreme about how they deliver things and every area, whether it's online, whether it's on TV, whether it's just a bunch of negativity all the way about, I hate to use that word, but just a bunch of bad news. You know, these motherfuckers, they be listening in so tough. I go on to local news channels now. They got a whole good news section. I'm telling you, it blows my mind at how much they mimic the things that I do and I say. I mean, I can't even put in a password without that password coming up in something I'm seeing. Now, come on now. I can't even like a dessert that all of a sudden I can't find no more. But then I go somewhere else, some random place I just go to it. There it's dark again. Go some random place, and all of a sudden I'm seeing something similar to it, some new shit. But now it's some Reese's Pieces. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I mean, from chips, I used to. Back in the day, so many years ago, whenever I would go and catch the bus, this is when I ain't have no vehicle, I would go and catch the bus, and so I would run into the store, and I would get these hot chips, and I'd get me a lime, you know. This was years ago, before they even started putting lime on these hot chips, and I would just squeeze the lime on the chips. Next thing you know, it's so many areas. I know this is one reason why they be trying to stand in the way of my come up. Is because they have usurped so much. And I'm not saying they not doing it to other people, but because they know that about me, they stay tied into me and what I do more so. Because they recognize that. This whole Elon Musk Twitter thing. The shit that I was doing on Twitter years ago. And all I'm thinking is this motherfucker, who for all I know, he might want that. He might wanted access to that. Because it was some deep shit. And that's probably why a lot of you motherfuckers is listening right now. The same people that was tied into me when I was on Twitter, when I was on Facebook. The same motherfuckers. Shit is just I might have to just start Diana Rossing y'all motherfucking asses. Y'all know Diana, Dirty Diana, motherfucker. I understand why Diana was the motherfucking way she was. I get it wholeheartedly. Man, I get that shit wholeheartedly. I'm not in agreement with everything that she did, but I get how something so appealing to a motherfucker, if they don't take charge, a motherfucker, all they want to do is just hold a motherfucker in captivity. Put you on some type of exhibit. Lord knows what they're doing with all this capturing of me through the sky. It should be live. When these motherfuckers be recording, that should be live. In real time. Well, anyway, again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button. I know for this, but I gotta remind you, if you believe in supporting your sister, and you're not just here as these fanatics that's been following me everywhere. These motherfuckers follow me everywhere. Oh Lord, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But hit that like button, and support the channel, support Brother Lance, support myself, give back, because I know that, the words that I'm speaking is having some type of effect on you in a beneficial way. Who knows? Who knows how some may be utilizing the information. But I just hope that it's not in vain. And, it's being utilized for our favor, my favor. And I'm not ashamed to say it. And so, but anyway, you guys enjoy, the commentary. And until next time, just be well.